Hi there guys and girls, and welcome to my TMK revisited version of my Mortal Kombat 1 Mega Drive video review. So this is a very special video, and I wanted to do this for the anniversary because, you know, 10 years on YouTube. This video, or the original video, is what got me into YouTube. I really liked the Mega Drive version of Mortal Kombat. It was the version I played the most, believe it or not. I actually played it more than the arcade because the first time I saw Mortal Kombat in an arcade, I wasn't the biggest fan, you know, but later on, you know, when I became a huge Mortal Kombat fan, I went back to the source, do you know what I mean? But on the home market, the Mega Drive version of Mortal Kombat is where, like, it started to get really big. Like, it was kind of big in arcades in Australia, but when it more became in the home market, Super Nintendo Mega Drive, so it became the buzzword at school, and everyone would talk about it, and everyone wanted to hire it, and trade codes, and there was more of that scene because, you know, there were people that went to arcades. Like, I went to arcades occasionally, but, like, all my friends didn't go to arcades. It wasn't like a thing. Like, it's hard to explain, you know what I mean? I just think that more people had Mega Drives and Super Nintendos, and they were all a rage at the time, so Mortal Kombat was the game to have. Now, I already talked about this in my original review of Mortal Kombat 1 on Mega Drive. It's called Genesis in America for you guys over there. But the reason I wanted to do it again was I did leave out a few things, and a few things that I've kind of, you know, in the last 10 years, you know, things that I wanted to say about this title, this game, you know. I still stand by the fact that it is the superior version. It was probably the best home version of Mortal Kombat. I'm going to stand by that. You know, in my original video I said the PC version was probably the best. It looks the best and that. But I'm going to go back on that. I'm actually going to say that I think the Mega Drive version was more fun to play, and that it was the best version. And the reason for that is, like, although PC had the best looking graphics, like, with older PCs, and I really should have said this in the original video, because I've worked on computers my whole life and been into computers, you know, since 386s. Unless you had a sound card, you didn't hear Mortal Kombat. You know, you only heard beeps and beep, 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 you know, it didn't sound right. You know, and then later on they released a better version even if you had a sound card. Sorry, on the original version it sounded, only some of it was there. Then later on they released a version that had all these WAV files and it had all the music and all the sounds. You know, so the PC version's never really, the original PC version, I don't think it really stood up to the Mega Drive one. The Mega Drive one had speech, it had sound effects, it had music, you know, and although, like, a lot of people say, oh, but, you know, Mega Drive, it's so limited, you know, there's only some sounds, and that might be true. However, the thing is, things you need to take into account with the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo version. Actually, sorry, more so things you need to take into account with the Mega Drive, right? It was a harder platform to make games for. Now, I'm a big fan of Angry Video Game Nerd, and he did a video about Mega Drive versus Super Nintendo. Great video. I really suggest you guys watch that, especially if you're a younger one of my viewers and you don't know much about Mega Drive or Super Nintendo. It was all the rage, that war back then. And while Super Nintendo appeared to be like the king, the leader in graphics and sounds, and that it had a better sound chip, it had better graphics, and that it seemed to just be the dominant force. Something you need to really look at is the fact that Nintendo had that image they wanted to uphold. So Mortal Kombat, they didn't want it to have blood, they were afraid, whereas Sega weren't. They wanted to do arcade versions. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sega were a great, I've always loved Sega. Sega was an arcade company. You know, Daytona, Sega Rally, Virtual Cop, Virtual Fighter. They wanted to bring those games home, and they wanted to keep them, they weren't into censoring things, you know? So there was that. And Super Nintendo made a console that was really easy for people to make games for, really easy to do the graphics, really easy to do the sounds, and da-da-da-da. Whereas Mega Drive didn't. it was a lot harder. So in that, going back to that video that Angry Video Game Nerd did, he talked about how the Mega Drive has crap music, and I think he showed Doom as an example, and I think it was Doom on, it might have even been Sega CD or something, but you know, he played the music and it did. It sounds fucking awful. And I think he played other ones, and then he compared it to the Super Nintendo version, which sounded great, and the Mega Drive version sounded shit. Now that doesn't mean that the Mega Drive version or Mega Drives can't do music. See, that's a misconception. That's the thing that kind of always bugs me. People always say Mega Drive sounds like shit. You know, I'm a Mega Drive fan, and I know what a lot of people don't about the music. So when a developer gets a game like Mortal Kombat and it's on multi-system, they'll get to, you know, original copies of the music, and half the time they'll just run it through some converter to convert it to what the Mega Drive spec needs, you know, whatever it was, 16-bit audio mono, you know, 9600 kilohertz rate, you know, whatever the sound has to be. They'll run it through some program, some cheap piece of software to convert the original arcade audio to something that will work on this. And because they are so lazy and didn't give a shit about the music back in those days, a lot of times it came out like arse on the Mega Drive. Now, that's not Sega's fault, and it's not Midway's fault, because Sega just make the console, Midway make the original game. It's the companies like Acclaim or Probe that do it. Now, in this case, they're not guilty, and I'll tell you why. The Mega Drive had its own soundtrack, which was a very smart move. The music for the Mega Drive version is done by Matt Furness. Now, I actually know Matt Furness from some Commodore 64 games that he did the soundtracks for. He did Castle Master, one of my all-time favourite Commodore 64 games. It's got such a great tune. It's just so fucking eerie, you know. And I didn't know it for such a long time. And when I guess, you know, probably maybe 5-6 years ago, I started looking up people who worked on the games and seeing where they are now, what they're doing now, sort of thing. I looked up Matt Furness and it didn't click, and I'm like, hang on, wait, he's the guy that did, you know, the music for Castle Master. And then he actually did Mortal Kombat, and I didn't realise until, you know, probably 5 years back, you know. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook, you know, and I've actually sent him a photo holding up my Castle Master box, wherever it is, and the Mortal Kombat box, saying thanks for friending me, you know. So Matt Furness wrote unique tracks for Mortal Kombat. Now the tracks are really good. They are. I actually listen to them in my car. They're actually on my stereo, on my USB stick, you know, so they'll come up at random. They're really good, and I thank myself. I thank whoever made that decision to not put, not convert the original arcade music tracks and put them on the. I thank that person, because if they had done it, Mortal Kombat on Mega Drive would have sounded like shit. You know, but instead, they got a composer out there. He wrote unique tracks, and it came out really good. And I always loved the Mortal Kombat theme on Mega Drive. I thought it was amazing, you know, and I knew that theme more than I knew the arcade themes for a long time, you know, and I love the arcade music too. So Dan Forden's music and Matt Furness's music, I hold in both extremely high regard. I think they're both awesome. Dan Forden's is the original arcade sound of Mortal Kombat. It sounds deadly and mysterious. And Matt Furness accomplished the same thing in a home market with a different type of soundtrack. But it works, you know. And a lot of people would then throw that argument in my face, you know. But the Super Nintendo has the arcade audio, you know. And that bugged me for a while. It did, and I thought, oh, that's kind of a good point. It does have, you know, the arcade audio, and it has, you know, that tune I really love, the Continue music. I think that's really eerie. You know, I used to always want that, and that was actually a contributing factor for me to buy a Super Nintendo, just to have that version. But I never really liked that version of Mortal Kombat, because I remember I'd been playing the Mega Drive version so much, and then I was shown the Super Nintendo by my cousin, Super Nintendo version. And it's like, it's the best, it looks the best, and then I did look the best, I did sound great, but it played like shit, and I never liked it. And that's a big difference between the Super Nintendo version. Looked great, sounded great, but it was buggy as. Didn't play properly. It was full of glitches. The Mega Drive version, sure, it had a less frame rate, it was slower, but it played better, and it still looked decent, and had a great soundtrack. So, you know, this is something I really wanted to emphasize in this video, because that's something that's always bugged me, you know, and that's a big contributing difference to why people say, why don't you like the Super Nintendo version as much? I believe the Mega Drive version's a lot better. And in my original video I showed a clip, and I'm going to show it in this one, of Ed Boon, from the man himself, the guy who programmed the original Mortal Kombat arcade, saying the Mega Drive version's better.
By 1993, Mortal Kombat is a nationwide phenomenon. In just 3 weeks, the home versions of Mortal Kombat sell 3 million copies, making it the best-selling game of its time. But the very thing that makes the game unique also gets it in trouble.
The fact that there was blood in the game was sort of this big controversy. And I remember when Mortal Kombat first came to the home console systems, Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and Nintendo wouldn't even let them have blood in the original Mortal Kombat game.
We were told by Acclaim that, you know, Nintendo was not going to allow it. You know, it's their system. They had an image that they were really upholding, and they did not want a game that had blood in it, let alone fatalities. Acclaim said, oh, let's make the blood gray and it'll be sweat.
But fans aren't happy with the decision, and Nintendo pays a high price for it.
I've actually heard some people say that that was one of the things that helped Sega overtake Nintendo in that whole console wars, because the Genesis version was outselling it like 3-1. The Super Nintendo version actually looked better. The Genesis version was more realistic and actually played better too.
You know, it played better. You know, he knew it. You know, he could see the differences, and you know, I'm sure he was all over it when those home versions came out. I'm sure he played them all to see, you know, what they did to his baby, you know. But yeah, as for me, you know, doing this review again, it's great to do it. I did want to do it on my couch, and I've mentioned I'm having all these problems with Macrovision, the TV. I didn't know it had this sort of problem, these Macrovision issues, but I didn't have them at my last place, so I don't know. I got to look at how everything's hooked up. Something somewhere is causing an issue. Like, as soon as I split the video signal, which has never been an issue in the past, it goes all dark and it jumps around, which is exactly like Macrovision. You know what I mean? I even hacked into the TV's technician menu last night. Well, not hacked in. I found that it's always a code. You got to press like certain buttons, but there was no way to turn Macrovision off in there. So, you know, the only thing left is to find one of those splitter boxes, but they're not really around anymore because people don't give a shit about Macrovision anymore. But, you know, because I'm doing all the retro stuff, it's something I need to look at. So, Mortal Kombat, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and review it again. Hopefully I don't leave anything out from the old video. But for me, it was a 10 out of 10 game. I played it so much. I got really good at it. The thing I liked about it was that, you know, I got to know all the characters. I got to know all their stories. I beat the game with all of them to find out, you know, what would happen. You know, that's the thing about this game. What happens to these characters? They set up the story, and once you read the initial story, like the Johnny Cage one here that's on my screen right now, you want to know what happens to him when he wins, you know, and that's something I really liked. And then I found out the reptile thing and the reptile secret and fighting reptile in the pit and all that, and all the little flags, and there were so many cool things in Mortal Kombat that made it such a great game, and it looked fantastic and it played so great. I had so many games with people, young and old, you know, people in my street, even young people, people my age, you know, just used to play and play and play and play and play MK, you know. I've told a story in a previous video, I believe. There was one guy, he went to a different school than me, but we used to play Mortal Kombat, and I used to always win. And one day he came up to me and he said, I've been practicing, you know, and I'm going to take you down. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But part of me thought, fuck, he might actually beat me, you know. He was so confident. He said he'd been practicing and playing it for weeks and weeks and weeks and was going to beat me, you know. And I'm like, shit, you know. And then we started playing, And I think yeah, he used Johnny Cage. That was his strategy. He'd practiced with Johnny Cage for whatever reason. And, you know, at first he was beating me. He beat me. I'm like, fuck, he's gotten really good. You know, I forgot what his strategy was, but I remember he beat me the first few matches, so I had to then adjust my strategy to beat him. Actually, no, sorry. No, he was Liu Kang. Sorry. He was Liu Kang. I was Johnny Cage. That's how I beat him. Yeah, at first he was like, wah, wah, and every time I got close, I think that's what happened. Every time I go to hit him, he'd fly kick over me and get out of it, like escape, you know, and then reset, you know, sort of thing. And I'm like, how do I stop this guy? And in the end, I think what my strategy was I jumped close next to him, and then he knew I'd go for like the sweep or something, and he was blocking it. So I jumped close to him, and I started doing the ball breaker, and he couldn't get out of it, you know. And then he realised that was it. I pretty much had an answer for his strategy, whatever it was. I'd block the fly kick, then do a ball breaker punch or whatever. It was something like that. I remember it was the ball breaker punch was the thing that broke down his strategy. And he's like, I guess I give up, you're the best. But we played heaps of games, heaps and heaps and heaps, you know. And for me, the Mega Drive version was perfect. It had the blood code, you know, playing that Super Nintendo version, those fatalities are awful. I mean, some are okay. The lightning one, you know, without the blood, like the electrocution one that turned to ash. I kind of like that. That could be a good fatality if they put that in a new game. They could really do some cool shit with that. The Ice Shadow one's okay. You know, that's even been, you know, the Mortal Kombat's kind of similar thing, but you can't take the spine rip away. The spine rip was just a beautiful piece of violence, you know. To take that away is awful. You know, so this had it all. And it didn't matter that the graphics weren't as bad. It was there. All the content was there. It was all presented. You know, it wasn't as great as the arcade, but it was there. It was a great version. And this is why I got a Sega Mega Drive. That's why I insisted on getting Mortal Kombat for it. I had Sonic and I had Mortal Kombat. That's our version. That's our box there, by the way. There's a few different boxes. Some have, you know, different languages. You know, sometimes they reprint the slicks, like as they sell more and more. And this one actually has a color manual in there. Some of them will just have. We had this weird manual that we'd get, like when they'd make the cartridges cheaper or something. They'd put the manual in there, and it was printed in blue ink. That's it, blue and white. The white was the paper and the blue was the ink, and it was on one sheet, and you'd unfold this thing like a road map, and would have like all the 10 languages on it. You'd have to find English. You know, I hate those manuals. You know, those ones are great. Those ones you just open properly, but they became really a common thing in Australia that they would always have these cheap manuals. You know, it's like I used to fucking hate them. You get that was something that did bug me about Nintendo. Nintendo always came with this beautiful color manual. You know, they never did that shit, but Sega did it a lot. You know, so. Anyway, so I'm just going to reset the game. I won't have sound here. The reason I'm resetting the game is so we can turn the blood on. Mortal Kombat on Sega is the whole reason I started doing reviews on YouTube, you know. I wanted to talk... Oh, didn't bring up the code string. I could have just done the cheat thing, whatever. It was the one game I wanted to review. I actually did a review before this one. I reviewed Mortal Kombat Armageddon on Wii. If you go back and watch that video, I can't watch it, it's awful. I'm so stiff in the video. Welcome to the very first Total Mortal Kombat video review. It's, yeah, like, I wasn't being me. I was trying to be what everyone else was. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, your IGNs and all that. I'd watch those videos and they'd sit on the couch and be all serious, and I'm like, oh shit, that's how I have to do it, you know. But then I found my footing, you know, just be me, you know, that's it. And the game I really wanted to review, I did that Armageddon review because I wanted a promo copy, to be honest, of the Australian. I already had the game. Midway gave me one from the States and an American one, but that won't work for me. So I want the Australian one, but they said, oh, you have to do a review. I went, alright, fine. So I did the review. They were cool, those guys. That was Red Ant up in Sydney, though. They were great. They offered me so much stuff when they had control of Mortal Kombat, all sorts of shit. They gave me competition giveaways, promos, you know, They even offered me dev code once for Deception, which I should have said, yeah, send it to me, but stupid me, I said, oh, I don't have an Xbox to play it. I could have had dev code, man. For those wondering what dev code is, it's development code. That means, you know, unfinalized code that you can do things with dev code. You can usually, like, capture a video. You might be able to turn the life bars off or turn on cheats or do all sorts of shit before the game comes out, you know what I mean? But it's pretty much a final version of the game that you can mess around with. Yeah, they're long gone, which is real sad because they were great. They were, you know, they were a very, very small company, and I think they'd go the extra mile with people who worked with them because, you know, they weren't big, you know. But yeah, they worked great with me. So yeah, that was my first YouTube video review of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. But then I did this because I love this game, and I wasn't planning on doing more. Mortal Kombat Genesis I was just going to do the run video review, and then everyone loved it. I had all these comments. Do another one. I'm like, I suppose I could do MK2, you know. So I did MK2, then MK3, and I don't think I had Ultimate. I think I did that later. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But then I just started, okay, I'll do the next one. Okay, I'll do the next one. It just became a thing. And, you know, I was doing the videos and doing the videos and doing the videos, and then, you know, talking about other things in between, like, you know, Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe announcement, or Mortal Kombat Armageddon first, you know, because that's when I opened the channel, 2006, obviously. It's my 10-year anniversary right now. Yeah, and that's been it. So let's get into it. I'm going to play some MK now. I'll put it on hard because I love the Mega Drive version. Who should I be? Should I be Sub-Zero? See, you can see the diminished frame rate there. You can also notice they have the same stance. Scorpion's got the fist at the back, and so Sub-Zero. Whereas on the arcade, Scorpion has the fist here, but Sub-Zero has his hand here like this. That's his stance. You know, it's different. I ran out of time, so I'm Kano. Here's our battle plan, entrance 1, entrance 2. As you can see, everything's a lot slower, but the game plays better. Oh, by the way, I'm using a 6-button controller this time. Normally I use the 3-button, but I thought I'd use the get the full arcade experience. You know, I won't be able to hear the music, but you'll hear it as always in the final videos. Oh, there goes the roll, baby. Take that, Johnny Cage. Take that. Oh, look at that juicy blood. You didn't have it, Nintendo. The monks don't clap because that would require too much animation. Round 2, fight. So it would just say fight. The noticeable difference between the arcade version, like, there wasn't that much speech anyway. In Mortal Kombat. Finish him. It would say finish him. Whoops, I fucked that up. It would say, the Mega Drive version would say finish him, but it won't say finish her. It won't say the character names, it won't say Kano wins, it won't say any of that. It just says get over here and finish him and excellent. I think that's it. Yeah, those are the only speech that it has, but when they released the Mega CD version later, they added all the speech, you know. They said it was so much gorier and everything, and I remember they literally got, you know, the pit level and just put blood on all the spikes. I was like, oh, they added some of the heads and that, and I was just like, oh, that's awful. As you can see, it's got the animation, but everything's just a bit more cut down, you know. I love the Palace Gates music. As I said, Matt Furness's soundtrack is great. Fantastic. Excellent. Finish him. I know why I stuffed the fatality up before. See, the fatality is back to forward, semicircle, back to forward, low punch on the arcade. Yeah. For some reason that can be a bit more tricky on the Mega Drive version, but if you just press on the Mega Drive version back low punch, it will always work. I don't know why, I figured that out one day. In fact, I think that was the first fatality we figured out. I'm like, I just pushed back low punch, You know, we were trying to figure out the fatalities when we first started playing. We didn't know what they were. He was, and my friend who told me to hire Mortal Kombat. See, I didn't want to get it. He's like, I want to get Mortal Kombat, sort of thing. He was telling me about the fatalities. You can kill people and the screen goes black and this. And I'm like, yeah, I'd seen that once before on arcade. I told him I'd seen it before, you know, but I don't know how to do it. And we'd play and play and play, and then one day I accidentally did the heart rip with Kano, you know, and then it became apparent that you can do it just by pressing back low punch or back and low punch even. Might even just be back and low punch. And that's how we saw that first fatality. Back low punch. Works every time. Said that, Liu Kang. Look at that juicy heart. It looks like a steak. Just big juicy steak. Yeah. Just want to cook that shit up. Big fatality. And that's the other thing about the Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo version would say finishing bonus. Finishing bonus. Get the fuck out of here. This is Mortal Kombat. Fatality. Finishing. I'd hate it when the Nintendo fans would come up to me and go, do you know how to do his finishing move? But it's not a finishing move. They'd say it because they were the Nintendo players. You know? It's like it's a fatality. And they're like, what? It's like it's a fatality. No, his finishing move. I'm like, Oh, God. Need a Coke. Dry throat. Take that, Scorpion. Fight! Finish him. I can't hear the music, I'm just doing it. I can hear it in my mind. You know, it's funny, like, there's things where I've been playing the games. That guy I told you about that I was playing the game with that said was going to beat me, he would say funny things about the characters. I used to always say, I'm going to be this guy, and it's Kano, right? And he'd say, and this thing's always stick in my head, I can't believe it. He'd say, what, the guy with the 5 on his head? I'm like, what? He's like, the guy with the 5 on his head. And if you look, you can see there looks like there's a 5 on the steel, on the faceplate, and I never noticed that until he said it. And now every time I see that graphic, I think of him saying that every time. I can't not forget that. It's weird. I forget so much other shit, like in day-to-day life. I forget names, places, movie titles, actors, you know, but I always remember that he said the guy with the 5 on his head, you know, and he said something about Goro as well. In the Warrior Shrine, he said, what, the guy with the S on his chest? And it looks like in his 6-pack there's like an S. You know, I was like, I can just... That always makes me laugh. Oh, come on. Not fair. Oh, shit. Stop it, you cheating bastard. You're not supposed to be able to punch me that much. I was trying to do the roll, but I just couldn't get it in time. It's still over me. Oh, I forgot, that's right. I got on hard. I forgot. No wonder they're playing like assholes. Alright. Oh, fuck me. Oh, what? Bullshit. Oh, you avoided me. Ha! Oh, bullshit. Take that, bitch. Finish him. Da-da-da. You still love the background, like you can see all the gold, and in the Mega Drive version, the palace is gold. You can see the maps of the island, the Shang Tsung's island in the background on the wall. When you look at that Super Nintendo version, the palace isn't gold, it's silver. The walls are silver. For some reason, one of the dragons, it should just be mirroring the graphics. The one on the right looks all fucked up. The dragon's not all proper, and the one on the left's like normal. Like, I noticed all this shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? You should just be able to mirror that graphic. Like, why does it look all fucked up? You know? You go look. I'll put it in the video. I'm going to put a picture in the video of the Super Nintendo. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm putting it in. Should be on the screen right now. Eat knife, bitch. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if Akaina's gonna run out of knives. Oh, you whore! Whore! Oh, shit. She's gonna get me. Get away, bitch! Oh, God! Slut! Fucking hate it. Alright, fix her up this round. Stitch her up. Stitch her up. Oh! 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 Oh, how's that for cheap? Do I care? Nah, revenge, bitch. Flawless victory. Suck it. Alright. Deciding round. What? Oh, oh, she's learning. She's learning. Maybe she isn't. Oh. Da-da-da. Got it. Whoa, I forgot I'm on hard. It's a lot harder than when you're playing on hard. Oh, man. Just go back. This is my original Mega Drive, by the way, the one I'm playing on. This is the original one that I got when I was younger. I've got the original box and everything for it. I've got everything. The Mega Drive was my favourite video game console. Still is. I always liked it more than the Nintendo. I thought the Nintendo looked like a fucking... you know, Angry Video Game Nerd said it best. The Super Nintendo looked like a baby's toy with these funny purple switches. We didn't get that version. Like, he even said the European one version looked better. But I still think our version looks shit compared to the Mega Drive. It's black. It's so sleek. It had a gold plate on it that said 16-bit. It had a volume control on it. So you could hook it up and listen to the music. Now, not many consoles have done shit like that. Had a volume control on it. I could literally be plugging this in. See, that'd be something good. I didn't even think of it for doing this video. I said I can't hear it. If I put headphones in, I'd be able to hear it. And still capture it and not affect my video, you know. You can't do that on Super Nintendo. There's no volume control. I can't do it on Xbox One. Or maybe I can. Maybe the Xbox One controller has something on it. But, you know, a lot of the older controllers, the Xboxes and PlayStation, they didn't have headphone jacks. Something, you know, I always love about the Mega Drive, you know. Now, in regards to saying... just wanted to give some examples too about I was saying earlier about, you know, games with unique soundtracks sounded a lot better. So by that I mean Mortal Kombat was a soundtrack that was written specifically for this version. They didn't try and port it from the arcade. They wrote a new version of music. And there's other games like Jungle Strike, Desert Strike, they have great soundtracks, and that's because they're unique. That forces the composers to come up with unique things and not just port something over. And when they do that, they come up with something really good. And that's why Desert Strike, Jungle Strike have really good soundtracks. Mortal Kombat has a great soundtrack. Gunstar Heroes has a great soundtrack. Herzog's Way has a great soundtrack. You know, and that's why, that's how I know the Mega Drive is capable of great music. You know, and all these people saying it's not, they don't know. Because they're only listening to things that have been ported, like Doom, you know, or things like that, you know. You go and listen to the Gunstar Hero soundtrack. Go listen to the Herzog's Way soundtrack. Or the Jungle Strike one by Brian Schmidt. Those soundtracks are so fucking cool. And they sound awesome. It doesn't matter what chip is in here. It doesn't matter what kilohertz it is. It doesn't matter if it's stereo or mono. None of that bullshit matters. It just matters that the music's really good, you know. And so I knew this system was capable of it, and that's why I'd hate it when people, you know, you get these Nintendo haters that come up and say, oh, you know, Sega sounds like ours, you know, and then we just throw blast processing back in their face and win the argument. because no one knew what the fuck blast processing was. That was the best argument ever on the playground. All you had to do was say blast processing, and no one knew what to say back to that. We didn't even know what it meant, but it was in our ad, so we could just say it, you know, blast processing. And then Nintendo fan would be like, what? You'd be like, blast processing. It was awesome. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. I wish I could go back to those times when you walk into the store and it was just Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. Sometimes I miss that. The cartridge days. You know, I really miss it. I have really strong memories of, like, you know, buying my Game Boy games and stuff. I used to, up in Queensland, I used to go to local toy store to get my Game Boy stuff. They had so many video games. They had so much video game stuff. They even had the Neo Geo, which kind of, you know, flopped here. No one could afford the damn thing. You know, I wish I had one now though. It's one of the only consoles I'm missing. You know, and they even had them. I remember that, I saw them at the top, and I did want it, you know, but, you know, when you're younger, everything goes through the parents, right? Yeah, so I never got Neo Geo. But, yeah, they had all these cool Game Boy things. I had this little Game Boy demo. It always had Tetris in it, you know, but if you asked them, and I still, you know, you wouldn't get that these days. If you asked them back then, like, if you could try out a game, they let you. Like, you know, I still can't believe that, thinking back to it. I'm thinking, that's like crazy. Like, I did it for like Super Mario Land, can I try this out? And they put it in the demo Game Boy and let me play it for a bit and then walk off. And then, because I did that, I bought that. I played Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan, bought that. Double Dragon, bought that. You know, I remember those three specifically I definitely got from that toy store. I'm trying to think what else I got from there. Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, I believe I got that from there too as well. You know, and yeah, just miss those days. Those were the days, man. By the way, Kano's my best character. He's got the best fly kick. You know, and I always say it, fly kick, you know, can get pretty much win you the game in Mortal Kombat. Pretty much. You still need to know more. You still need to know what to do if you get stuck somewhere or stuck in a corner or, you know. See, even I'm having trouble here. I'm trying to do the roll. I'm having trouble doing it. You know, you can't just win it with fly kicks. You need to know more. But you know, you almost can. You know, because I got it on hard here, I got to watch the projectiles. You know, if someone got caught by Sonya's leg grab, you know, there's a lot of, if Sonya, you know Sonya's going to do the leg grab, you have to block the whole time as soon as you think she's going to do it, because it's one of those moves that gets you really easily, you know. The amount of frames that you need to block it is very small, like a very small number of frames. If you miss it, you get hit by it. So, you know, you need to be holding block the whole time, so, you know, you do block it. Fuck you, Sub-Zero, you bastard. Ha ha, bitch. Oh, what? Fuck you. Fuck you up the ass. Well, that's a bit rude. Whatever. You probably like it. Alright, come here. Alright. Oh. You're mine now. What? Just jumping shit? Your heart's mine. Maybe it's her tit I'm ripping out. And it's flapping in the wind. Look at it. That's her titty. I ripped her titty out. Fatality. Ripped her implants out for this victory. Jeez, this channel's going downhill. It's getting so dirty. You know. Megoro, you fuck ass. God. You call yourself Princess Shokan? Flawless victory, bitch, on very hard. Ha! Alright, let's see if I can do it again. Fight. You bastard. You bastard. We like to say bastard in Australia. You bastard. Come here. Get over here. Oh, that's my other character's like, I win. I fucking win. Ooh. Here comes Shang Tusk. Man, Shang Tusk is hard. I tell ya. Damn Shang Tusk. Look at you floating bastard with your sword that you don't use. Come here. What? fuck was that? What? What? The limited frames makes him tricky when he's doing the flaming skulls. You think he's just standing there doing nothing. But then the skull comes out! What the hell? Shang Tusk, knock it off. Alright? Oh, what? Cancel my knife throw? That's bullshit. How many of them you got? Knee. Boom. Take that, Mr. Cage. Oh, it's really Shang Tusk. Alright. Round 2. Fight. Come here, Shang Tusk. Shang Tusk. Shang Tusk. Wah! Oh, what? No roundhouse in the face? Take the knife in. Oh, come on! Oh! Missing frames there, son. Watch out, Goro. I'm coming for you. Yeah! Outstanding! I am supreme. You have defeated Shang Tusk. I am the supreme Mortal Kombat warrior. Yeah! Mega Drive version still holds up. Graphic endings. I remember the Super Nintendo had these little pictures to them. I'm like, what the fuck is that? When I saw it, I'm like, you know, they always say the Super Nintendo version was high resolution and all this shit. But then, like, the pictures it had now were fucking tiny. They were like fucking like that. You know, at least the Mega Drive version might have been lower res, but they had bigger pictures of the characters, you know? But they didn't have all the pictures that they just had Kano with holding his arm up, but in the arcade he's got the gun, you know? No. Yeah, so they only had the one pictures, the Mega Drive. So the Mega Drive version was a cut down version. It's fantastic. I love the graphics. It has its own graphic style. It is a bit limited with some things. The music's awesome. The sounds are great. I mean, they are a bit limited, but you know, I still give this version a 9 out of 10. I still think it's like the best home version of Mortal Kombat. That being said, you know, because even if you take into account the PC version, if you didn't have a sound card, then you didn't have good sound. Whereas at least this gave you decent sound out of the box, gave you decent graphics out of the box, and the most important thing was it gave you the best gameplay. You know, and that's why, for me, Mega Drive, Genesis, Mortal Kombat, at the time, was the king. So yeah, thanks for watching my very long 41 minutes, Jesus. Thanks for watching this, you know, revisited review of Mortal Kombat. You know, like I said, it was the video I really wanted to do. This is what got me into YouTube. This is the one, you know. I did want this to look, you know, I thought about doing this for a long time, and I wanted it to look really good. And when I moved house, that little TV that's in all those old videos, I kept that. It's actually in my room next to my bed, that TV. I specifically kept that out. Didn't put it in storage or anything for the fact that I wanted to like redo these videos. You know, I've kept that TV and I haven't used it at all since I've come in here, and I've had all these other troubles with Macrovision and stuff, but you know, I just couldn't get it right, like how I wanted to use it. So I was just gonna go straight and just do it on the couch, and then I had all these other troubles, so I ended up doing it in the room like the others. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another review or video, another video for my anniversary month. Thanks guys, and I'll see you then. Peace.